Hello and welcome to AMG Time And Attendance system video tutorial. In this video I'm going to show you how to configure advanced rounding rules for in-out, lunch and break patches. Advanced rounding mode is available only if you are an Enterprise Edition user. Let's configure advanced in-out rounding rule. If you already have rounding rule of simple mode, you can convert it to advanced by clicking on the corresponding Convert to Advanced link from the Take Action column. Please note that after converting a simple to the advanced mode, you will not be able to convert it back to the simple mode. Let's create new advanced in-out rounding rule. As far as along with using advanced rounding rules, you can also continue adding and using simple rounding rules. After clicking Add button, the system asks whether you want to use advanced mode. For adding advanced rounding, click Yes button. Otherwise, if clicking No button, will be created a simple rounding rule. As far as we want to configure advanced rounding, we will click Yes. Before configuring, I would like to present differences between simple and advanced modes. The first difference is that, in contrast to simple rounding rules, advanced rules can be applied also to flex shifts, because in advanced mode is given possibility to round not only start and stop time, but also the total work duration. The second difference is that in case of advanced mode you can have as many rounding intervals as you want, while in case of simple mode you can set up only 3 values, round, grace and dog, and therefore you can have only 4 rounding intervals. And the last difference is that when using advanced rounding rules for each rounding interval you can set up a special code, called an attendance code, which can be used for evaluating employees' attendance. Evaluation is being done based on how many minutes they were early or late using the values assigned to each attendance code. Later I will show also the special attendance report where the evaluation is being done. Now let's go back to the configuration of advanced in-out rounding. At first should be entered code and name of the rule. In Start in Patches section, we set up rounding rule for clock in patch. The configuration is based on time intervals, defining number of minutes around the scheduled start time. To configure the rounding rule, you should do the following. In the To field, enter the end of the time interval. The value of From field will be automatically calculated by adding 1 to the previous time interval's end value. For example, if we enter -31 in the To field, the value of next interval's From field will be -30. By the way, negative numbers, like for example -31, are used for defining a number of minutes before the scheduled start, and positive numbers are used for defining a number of minutes after the scheduled start. Then, if you want to apply rounding to the patches occurred in the given time interval, check the box in the Round to field and enter the rounding value in the text box next to it. For example, we will enter -30. Note that 0 value defines the scheduled start time. Then, in the attendance code field, select the attendance code, which should be applied to the patches occurred in this time interval. For configuring attendance codes, click on the buttons next to attendance code fields. Will be open the window of attendance codes. In AMG Time And Attendance system, there are default attendance codes. Here you see them, they are 17, which cannot be deleted or set inactive. As you see, from the names of default attendance codes, each of them is supposed to be used in exact cases. For example, in docked, in early, in grace, in late, in rounded codes will be more common to use when rounding in patches, lunch, long, and lunch short codes will be more common to use when rounding lunch duration and so on. However, you can edit them, change names, values, and also add new attendance codes. To add new attendance code, you should click on the Add button. Enter the data into corresponding text boxes, code, name, and value, and click OK. Value can be any positive or negative number or zero. It will be used for calculating the attendance rate. Note that you are not required to select any attendance code. You can leave none options selected if you don't want to use this attendance evaluation tool. But if you want to use it, then you are recommended to select attendance code for each interval. For our first interval, we will select in early code. Now, if you need to set up another rounding interval, you can add a new one by clicking on the Add button and enter other rounding parameters according to your needs. Also, you can delete a time interval by selecting the required record and clicking on the Delete button. The logic of configuring rounding rules for stop and duration is the same as for start. So I will not go into details again, but I will just quickly set up them in order later to see the evaluation results in attendance report. After you have configured all the parameters you need, press OK to save the rounding. Then close the window, and if you want to apply it to the selected shift group, then from the In-Out rounding combo box, select the advanced rounding rule you have just created. Let's continue by configuring advanced lunch rounding rule. Again, we can either convert already existing simple rounding rules to advanced by clicking on Convert to Advanced link, or create new advanced rounding rule. First of all, should be enter the code and name. Then should be configure rounding intervals. Configuration is done the same way we have done it for in-out rounding rules. For example, if you want to round short duration to total duration of lunch, then in the To field of first rounding interval, leave 0 value. Then check Round to box and leave default 0 value in the Round to field. Also, we can select a corresponding attendance code. The most appropriate one in this case is lunch short. So, as a result, if for example the lunch time is 30 minutes, and the employee comes 15 minutes earlier, the lunch duration will be rounded forward to 30 minutes. If you don't want to round early punches, then uncheck Round to box. Now let's configure rounding interval for the cases when employee comes late from lunch. For example, we can set up a grace period for 5 minutes. For that, we should add new rounding interval. Enter 5 into field. Then check Round to box and leave default 0 value in the Round to field. This means that if employee is late for up to 5 minutes, lunch duration will be rounded back to scheduled lunch duration. If you want to round the lunch duration also after grace period, then add new intervals, as many as you need, and configure them according to your needs. If you don't want to round lunch period after grace period, then don't add new intervals and uncheck Round to box of the last rounding interval. If unchecked, the time after last to value, in this case after 6 minutes, will be rounded according to the parameters you enter in the right part of the window. Here, enter the split time duration before which will be rounded back to the scheduled duration, and after which will be rounded forward to the rounding parameter you enter in this field. If you don't want to use this rounding, then leave default 0 values in these both fields. And finally, press OK to save the advanced rounding rule. By the same way, you can configure advanced rounding rules for break roundings. Now, after configuring and applying advanced rounding rules to this shift group, I will show also attendance report, where total attendance score is being calculated based on attendance codes. Let's go to Standard, Reports, select Attendance Report, and generate detailed version. Here in the report, you can see that each employee for selected time period has a total attendance score, which is calculated by adding attendance values for each in or out punch, depending to which rounding interval it belongs. So that's all about advanced rounding rules. Thank you for your attention.